Hello, first graders, and welcome back. Today we read the story Penguin in Peril. Now, we learned in the story that stuff that happened would not happen in real life. So, that was a fake, made up story. What we consider a made up fake story is fiction. Today, we are going to learn the difference between a fiction book like Penguin in Peril and a nonfiction book. So, a fiction book like Penguin in Peril, what does fiction mean exactly? So, if you look here on your screen, you have some pictures here. These are some examples of some illustrations that come from fiction books. Fiction books are made up by the author, and the purpose of those books is to entertain us. We read them because they're fun or they're funny and we enjoy them. Sometimes the author wants us to learn a lesson too. So, if we look over here at our fiction poster, it says that there's a little ant drinking some lemonade. That would be probably in a fiction story. Normally, we don't see an ant drinking lemonade out of the straw or going canoeing through a chocolate tunnel. That's a fiction story similar to the one in Charlie the Chocolate Factory. Or what about the three little pigs that built a house? Have you guys ever seen a any pigs build a house? No. So that would be fiction. It's fake. All right. Or anything with monsters, or a scuba diver reading a book, or a turkey dressed in clothes, or a boy climbing a beanstalk. All of those things are fun to read, but they're fake. So I want you to think about two words when we're thinking about fiction. The word fiction starts with the letter F. Fiction. Say that with me. Fiction. It has that F. The word fake starts with an F too. And the word fun starts with the word F as well. So fiction books are fake and we read them because they are fun. So I want you to remember that when we're learning about fiction stories. Now, nonfiction stories are books that we read when we're learning new information or we want to learn facts about something. So those books are going to be not fake. I'm going to switch over my screen here. All right, so now my screen looks like this. And you can tell here that I have the word fiction and I have the word nonfiction. Nonfiction, not fake, is how I remember it. All right, and we remember that fiction is those two words that start with the F, fiction, and they are fake, and we read them for fun. So those are those two words that start with F that help me remember what a fiction story is. I have some books here in the middle, and I want us to figure out, are they going to be a fiction book? Are they going to be fake? Or are they a nonfiction book? Do we read them because we want to learn information and facts? So, the first book that I have here is called Penguins. Now, let's just look closely at the cover. The title is called Penguins, and I have a real picture of a penguin. So, does this look like a make believe story that would just be fun or silly to read? Or do you think this is a book that would be full of facts about penguins? I agree. This is going to be a nonfiction book. It is not fake. So, I'm going to put it right here. We read it because we want to learn something new about penguins. All right, here's another story. This one is called Wild Cats. I'm going to zoom in on it. And you can see here that there is a real picture of a cheetah. So we want to read this one probably because we want to learn new information about cheetahs or wild cats like tigers and lions. All right, here is another story, Captain Underpants. I'm going to zoom in on this one, Captain Underpants right here. Do we read this story because we think it's real? Are there real superheroes running around in their underwear? No. This story is made because it is fake and we read it just because it's funny and silly and it we enjoy it. So this is going to be an example of a fiction book like the one we read today, Penguin in Peril. All right, I have another story here. This one is called The Pout Pout Fish. Now, you can see that this is an animal, and these over here are animals, the penguin and the wild cats. But does the pictures look the same? These look like they were taken with a camera because they're real pictures. This one looks like it was drew with um, an artist made it with maybe crayons or colored pencils or paints. And it's also called the Pout Pout Fish. So I think this story is going to be a fake story. It's going to be a story that we're going to read just for fun. So that is going to be an example of a fiction book. All right, here is another book here. This one is titled Flowers, and we can see that there's a real picture on the cover here. I believe that this is probably a story where we're going to learn information about flowers, how they're grown, different types of flowers, what flowers need to survive. So, this is going to be a story that's going to teach us facts about flowers. So, this is not going to be a story that we read because it's silly or fun and it's fake. This is a real story. It's not fake. So, this is going to be an example of a nonfiction book. So, I'll stick that over there on the nonfiction side. All right, here's another example. I'm going to zoom in on that. This one's called Dragon's Halloween. All right, and if you look closely here, we can tell that this picture was drawn out. And the main character is a dragon, and you see the dragon here. Do you think that dragons really go trick or treating with a bunch of little cats? Or is this story just a made up fake story that we would read for fun? I think so too. So that's going to be an example of a fiction book. So we'll put that over here on the fiction side. Looks like we have two more books. One of them here is Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. That's a popular book. This was actually the very first one of the first books I learned how to read. Um, so this is a little Dr. Seuss character. We don't see characters like this in real life. So this is going to be a story um, that is going to be an example of fiction. We're not learning any facts here. This is just a fun, silly story that we read for fun. So that's going to go on the fiction side as well. We have one last book here. It is called Mummies and Pyramids. And if you look close, it says Fact Tracker. So this is a story that we're going to be learning facts about mummies and pyramids. So it's not going to go over here on the fiction side, it's going to go over here on the nonfiction side because we are learning facts about something that is real. We're reading this book to learn information. So I'm going to put that over here on the nonfiction side. All right. I just did a book sort here again where we sorted fiction books and nonfiction books. And you're going to do an activity similar on Seesaw today as well, but with some different stories that I've chose. So remember, fiction books, they're fake and we read them for fun. Those two words that start with an F. And nonfiction books are not fake. Remember the non and not kind of sound similar. Non-fiction, not fake. We read non-fiction books because there's facts in there and we want to learn something new. So I hope you enjoyed this little activity and I can't wait to see how you guys do this activity on your own.